Tonight on Pure Country Reacts, this is one of the days you've been waiting for, okay? We had a very
nasty
comment that had been made really a while back on one of the BTS videos. We conversated back and forth on it, but sometimes you can't bring reason to what some people's thought processes are. Now, Lexi, as I've said before, I'm going to try to make this just as brief as possible because I don't want to lose you before this begins, but Lexi's always been gifted in a lot of things that normal people don't have, okay? And that's just, that's really all that I can say. Some people are born with certain gifts, and yeah, I'm messing with my hair. So anyway, the thing is she has gifts and she can pick up on a lot of things that other people do not. She's also, and this doesn't come from analysis, things that she watches. It's just, it's too hard to explain without going into.
I'm able to read people like a book just by looking at them.
Yes. Okay. She can read people. She's very good at reading people, but she does like the science behind a lot of body language, things like that.
Well, the thing is, I have to do the science behind body language because people don't believe me when I say I can read people really well, and then I get the data behind the body language and the behaviors and personalities to back up my being able to read them on a scientific level so somebody actually can understand me.
Well, the thing is she can do this, but a lot of people don't believe that. So what we're going to do is she went to pick up receipts to back up what she had said and what we had said actually in a previous video that obviously had really angered a member of Army. And the thing is
a childish member of Army.
Yes. The thing is Army, K-pop fans can be really toxic, but Army, I think, now Lexi, you said Blackpink had some really toxic
Blackpink's fans, the Blinks, are actually way worse than Army's.
So anyway, Army, there are some really toxic Army people out there, and we won't get into that, but this video is going to be an intro into where Lexi broke down each BTS member's personality. Some of these will have some videos to sort of kind of show you what she's talking about. However, she has worked on this for literally months.
Yeah, and it takes too long to find links, so some of them don't have links.
Right. So, as I said, she worked on this for months and months and months, okay? There is going to be a slideshow on this, and really pay attention to what she's saying because she does have receipts. She typed all this down. She put some neat little pictures on it, and she's going to explain to you basically how what she saw is true
in scientific terms
that supports what she said. So before we go any further into it, we're going to show you the comment that she's responding to. I'm going to read the comment hopefully because Lexi gets pretty worked up about it because it really was an argument with no basis, really.
No backbone.
No, there was really no nothing. It was basically, here is my thought process, okay? And the thing is we had went through and we had put a lot of responses back in there to support what we had said. So anyway,
they didn't care to look for our
No, they really didn't. They just wanted to argue about it anyway. So Lacey doesn't want to read it. I'm going to. Okay. So this came from this person here, and it's okay. We're not throwing shade at this person, but it's to basically say you need to look a little bit deeper. We don't just come up with some of this. Lacey don't come up with this stuff just out of her butt. Okay. So what this person who is an Army said, and it was 5 months ago, it says, y'all make it so obvious that you have something against Namjoon. Now, when I go in and say that, this was actually on the Toronto, BTS and Toronto videos that we did, and we were extremely hard on RM. And when Lexi finally gets to her RM analysis, we're not going to go any further. When she gets into the RM analysis, you'll understand what we're talking about. Okay, so anyway, this was obviously somebody who either likes them all or is a Namjoon fan.
Well, apparently their username is Namcook's bestie, so I would say that Jungkook and Namjoon are their favorites.
Okay, so anyway, what they do is they put their names together, you know, but the bias, obviously, Namjoon is one of them. So anyway, it says, why do y'all try to victimize Jimin so much? Do you ever see Jimin genuinely bothered with Namjoon?
Yes, all the time.
So actually, yes, this goes into body language, but Lexi will get to that eventually, because the one we're actually going to start, or the one she's going to start with today, is she's going to start with member Jen, okay? But let's not get too far ahead. No, because they love each other so much, and this fairness thing that you guys said in the beginning of the video is not true, because you obviously aren't treating the boys fair. I'm not even saying this because Namjoon is my bias, because actually Jungkook is, but obviously Nam, yeah, he's one of her biases, so that's fine. Anyway, but a real army loves all the boys, and you guys don't seem to like Namjoon for whatever reason. And the jacket thing, are you kidding me? You guys are trying to find the littlest things to make Namjoon look like a bad person. It was literally a plain gray jacket. What do y'all mean he's trying to steal Jimin's style? They all wear hoodies. Awesome.
No, RM doesn't.
If you're, what's OT6?
OT6 is basically, in simple terms, OT7 is you like all of them. OT6 is you like all of them except one of them.
Okay. So if you're OT6, just say, and I really wanted to like your videos, but your bias is really showing, and it's very hypocritical, since y'all seem to not like the idea of biases. Okay. So anyway, this was a concerted effort on a reply that we did. Okay, this is a huge reply that we made, and we actually put minute points in there. Okay,
for our receipts
to support what we've said. So let me see if I can go through this quickly. Like I said before, we have receipts for any of our accusations. Many videos, hours, clips, shorts, etc. have been reviewed before calling out RM, which is true. You can watch and open your eyes, or you can remain in the dark. A true person would understand that these 7 guys are human with all bad behaviors like all people, because that's true. Guess what? They're human. To think because they've been together all these years that they would just laugh bad behavior out is not even on the realm of understanding. We do have issues with many different things that have transpired along the way, all the way down to, wait a minute.
Biased by the producers. Okay. To choose and ignore this is really up to you. But yes, RM is a bully, and we've said that a lot.
I'm not sure what world you live in, but we live in the real world. Take the time to now here you go. Take the time to look into body language experts. Watch their critiques of other people. Watch a lot of them. Then come back and watch the very small signs of what we see. Not just here, but in society as well. None are perfect. None. Not even Jimin. But when you have a good soul, when you're known as the one that everyone goes to for comfort, when you see just how he reaches out to the other members, when you read past things that certain members have done for other members, you start to see what we see. One of the many receipts in this video is go to time 1515, where we're going back to this one video, correct?
It's just the one. It's the whole segment area of this video, and I think the one before. But
were we doing?
I think it's this video.
It might have been in this video. I'm not sure, because I think if we referred to anything else, we did put that in there. But anyway, we put the time stamp in there where she could go back and see. One of the many receipts in this video, go to time 1515, where RM says, and I quote, "Why are you making him buy this?" to Jimin. Okay, this was in regards to the hat Jimin placed on top of what Jungkook was buying. Okay, so the thing is that they had played a game to see who was going to buy clothes, because they were in Canada. It was pretty cold, and I don't think they had really prepared for the cold weather. So Jungkook lost the battle, or lost the game, and he was going to buy everybody something. There was 3 people who did not want Jungkook to buy. Jimin, Suga, and Jin. They were the 3 that wasn't going to make Jungkook buy anything. But
Tay didn't, because Tay already had a jacket.
That's right. So hope he didn't get anything either.
He did. He made him buy shoes.
The bedroom shoes. That's right. The bedroom shoes. So anyway, something must have took place on the side between Jimin and Jungkook, and he said that Jungkook lost, so he just picked a hat up that was right there on the thing. It was a toboggan, what we call them, and he put it on top. So Jimin, Jin, and Suga bought their own jackets. However, RM, who did make Jungkook purchase his jacket, which was because Jungkook lost the quick mission in the parking lot, didn't complain when J-Hope wanted Jungkook to buy him some shoes, even though Hobie said he didn't need any clothes and he wasn't going to have Jungkook buy him a jacket or a coat. He didn't point that out. Why? Okay, he just pointed out what Jimin did. When it comes to copycatting with the jacket, go to the timestamp of 50:35, and you can go to these. Pay attention to the way RM laughs. This is in regards to Hobie's answer to the last question in their language game. Okay, they were doing games back and forth. If you want to go back, you can go back and see. Remember how RM had laughed or responded to a funny situation for all these years. Why is it that he suddenly falls on the floor the way Jimin would? RM tries to pick up on what other people do, and he mimics it. He copies it. He tries to act like he's always been doing it. Well, he's never done that before. You can go back and look at any kind of video that you want to, not just ours. You can look at any clips, shorts, anything like that. He has never fell on the floor. J-Hope and Jimin are the two who hit the floor when they laugh.
But J-Hope does it backwards and Jimin does it forwards.
Yes, it's very, very different. Yeah, I know these are little minute, menial little things, but we're making a point to this person who obviously does not.
Well, a quick thing to say is, I think we said it in the body language video for Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial by Spidey. Most of what we're trying to communicate with people is about 80% our body, and like the tiny little percentages is what we're actually saying. So the thing is, his body speaks more volumes than what he actually says. This is why I take little to no credit to what he says.
So I'm gonna go back a little bit. Like I say, so why is it that he suddenly falls on the floor the same way Jimin would? That's not something that RM does, and Lexi I had, and she's been introduced to me this stuff over the past year and a half. He's never done that before. Go back, watch any video before, and tell me where it's located before this show. It's not there. Jimin and Hobie are the only members who typically hit the floor while laughing. Think about Run BTS episode 31. Okay, we do make references. We do we have the tomato song on there?
Yes, we are.
Okay, the tomato song is one of my favorites. I really, really love it. Anyway, think about the Run BTS episode 31 tomato song, and I really wish there were lines. RM was not smiling during the competition during the tomato song. Okay, he was told by Suga he needed to at least try to sing the song correctly. Okay, so he fake smiled in order to create the correct tone, but for years he doesn't smile a lot during these competitions because he's the serious one. The matinee line plus Hobie are the ones who typically smile and or are goofy. So this isn't his normal behavior, so he's copying the fun members again. Okay, go see Run BTS episode 69 and go to the timestamp of 30:39 to 30:41 and see where RM cut his eyes at Jimin, even though Jimin was merely standing and observing the other members.
Which is the episode before this one.
Yes, because they were in the grocery store. And I think they had found the pancake mix.
But it was right before the episode ended.
Right. So Jimin's just standing around observing. RM happens to look around, sees Jimin standing there, and does like he does a lot of times, which is roll his eyes. Yeah, he rolls his eyes and acts that way. So anyway, okay, was merely standing there observing the other. Okay, we have many more little things that can be pointed out, and we will point them out. How about episode 132, which we have not commentated to yet. Okay, so how about episode 132? I gotta keep my finger on it, y'all. Which, this one? Okay, we have not commentated to yet. Go to 8:03 to 8:20. During this time frame, RM accuses Tay of avoiding the water, stating he was trying to get away with avoiding the water by wearing his hat forward facing. Okay, we haven't done this one yet, but we will do it. But in episode 131, time frame 16:29 to 24:59, which is just a few minutes after that, right?
No, it's the episode before.
Is it the episode before? Okay, so when RM, and to understand, they were doing a water challenge, but they were doing debates on things that weren't really serious, but it was food debates. And it was really sort of kind of cute, but every time people did certain motions or said certain words, they would have water shot at them, or the one who was the commentator, that sat in the middle would get a huge dump of water on them, and you're really going to enjoy this. It's really a good episode. But anyway, so RM made sure to call Tay out and ask him if he was avoiding the water, but when RM was sitting up there, RM avoids the water by leaning up just enough so it wouldn't directly hit his hair and his face. Go back to, is this right? Episode 132, and just at the beginning? Why is it that RM continuously stands at the beginning of each debate trying to soak certain members during which when they were the moderators, the one who sat in the center and got big, huge dunks of water, not just little spray guns shot in their face? Let's see. He
stood first thing.
He stood first thing when Hobie was the MC, and he attempted to stand up during Tay's turn as MC to see if that would trigger the water. Now, every time it wasn't standing up, but it was on some of the different moderators. There was 7 of them. Wasn't it called, like, I can't remember the timestamp on it. It was like, I don't know. Anyway, so it was 7 different debates. Anyway, to stand during Tate's turn as MC to see if that would trigger the water, but he was very disappointed when it didn't. Go look at his face. Now, when we get to Jimin, because Jimin was the MC at the time, they previously had chosen a forbidden word which would soak the other members during debates if said. As all members previously had done, Jimin tried to get the other members to say the forbidden word, but, and before I go any further, they had a hidden word written.
No.
They had just chosen it?
They just chose it. The producers had to write Run BTS on their palms.
Okay, so they had chosen a word that none of the others knew, and that would let the producers know that when somebody said that word that they would get hit with water. The thing is you tried to fish to get other people to say that word. Okay, everybody did it. So, thank you, dear. Okay, so previously they had chosen a forbidden word which would soak other members during debates if said. Okay, so example would be I object. Okay, because Jungkook's was I object, because he would say, do you object? And we'll get to this one, okay? So anyway, all of the members previously had done to try to get other people to say the word. Jimin tried to get the other members to say his forbidden word, but RM's response to Jimin doing all that the other members had done.
We're doing all the members had done.
We're doing all the other members had done. Let me tell you, he said, he said, ignore what the MC says he's trying to lead you. They all did, but RM decided to pick on Jimin. Okay? Only Jimin. Okay? Now, all members did this. It was a part of the game, so why would RM call out only Jimin? Try episode 148, Interior Design Challenge. We haven't done this one either.
This one is the one that actually reveals the most hostility he has towards Jimin.
Exactly. It is in your face, and if he will do stuff like this on film in front of fans, can you imagine what Jimin has had to live with for 13 years? Anyway, okay, now the members ended up on 2 teams, and we're giving you the breakdown on it. Typical, right? Jungkook, Jimin, Suga were team A, Tae, Jin, RM, and Hobie were team B. It was quickly pointed out when the first question was asked to both teams that they needed to shout the name of the team before answering. Jungkook figured this out after calling his own name, even though the stupid producers didn't say call your team name, and they wouldn't accept Jungkook's answer. Remember, he said Suga team. Oh, Suga team. So if you go to the timestamp of 4:47 where RM shouts RM. Okay, so they're already in the game. RM shouts RM and not Jin team. Okay. Where RM shouts RM instead of Jin team, he gives an answer and the producers accept the answer. They accept it.
So that was showing the bias of the producers.
The bias and the favoritism. They did not do the same with Jungkook. Okay. Jimin caught, okay, because he's very, very sharp. Jimin called that RM called his own name instead of Jin team, and he called this out to the producer's attention, saying that he said RM Suga team. Okay. Now, they were forced to accept Suga's team answer since RM didn't call Jin team. Okay, fast forward to timestamp 5:25 where RM answers another question. He gets the correct answer after calling the correct team name. What did he do? He stood up and he did a karate kick directly towards Jimin.
Directly to his face.
Directly to his face. Okay? We will show you this. Make sure you pause on this and review the angry, toxic, and hateful face RM has while doing this towards Jimin. It's not a lie at all.
He's a scowl on his face.
Yeah, he was so upset that Jimin had called out just his mistake. And if somebody else had done the same thing, they call each other's mistakes out. That they all do that. They're very competitive.
Yeah, well, the thing is that theirs is very different than Jimin's. If Jimin does something wrong, the entire group
has to make
has
issue.
to trash him for it, but then only one person for the others.
So anyway, I said, don't tell me it's a joke. If you need more receipts as to why RM and Jimin aren't close like he is with the other members, look up BTS Jimin habits on YouTube. When his relationship with other members is brought up, it says specifically there are not many Moni moments, and that would be Jimin.
RM and Jimin's name.
That would be exactly where they put the names together between RM and Jimin. Why do you think that is? Look up also on YouTube how BTS members treat Jimin video. People have made videos about this, okay? We're not the only ones who see this stuff.
Well, no, the thing is they make videos of them being touchy, but the thing is you don't see RM basically doing that for Jimin a lot.
Right, that's what I'm saying is people make videos supporting, some of the things that we've seen. I mean, how do you think we see some things that haven't even been in the TV shows, okay? Or in their show. Anyway, video. Why is RM only compliments Jimin when they are on V Live and in front of live audience? Last but not least, take it from another ARMY who has answered this question. Look up on Google. The worst personality traits of every BTS member on Quora. And that's Quora is, you said...
It's something where people ask questions that other people answer. Now, the thing is, this person decided to nag and say, well, you're getting your facts from there. No, I'm not getting my facts from there. I'm getting the other people see the same thing we do. So.
Right. It's like other people's opinions in a way. And a lot of them are ARMY. Is that right?
Pretty much. I mean, because they got a bunch of BTSs as their profile pictures.
Exactly.
And names.
So anyway, so the worst personality traits of every BTS member on Quora, several say RM is a bully. He's arrogant. So apparently other ARMYs see this as well. We'll give RM credit when credit is due. However, watching his reaction, listening to his snide comments, listening to his belittlement of other members, mainly Jimin, we really started paying more attention. You can question any and all videos and we'll gladly give you the time to review and what was negative about it. Always open for conversation, and I thanked them for their response. So the comeback says...
Click on read more.
Huh?
You're going to have to click on read more underneath it.
I will, honey. So anyway, so their response came back, as you can see, bad behavior, question mark, what are you, their parents? Okay.
Now, but no, the thing is the ARMY tends to make it noticeable that they try to say that BTS is all perfect. They can do no wrong. And our point is they can. They can.
And also, too, they act like they're little kids.
Yeah,
okay?
they talk about they're boys. Well, no, they're grown men.
The boys. Really bad about calling Jungkook like Jungkook's a little kid. Yeah, he was 13 when he started in the band, but hello, he's a grown-ass man now, okay? Come on.
He's 5 years older than me.
Yeah, he's 5 years older than Lexi, okay?
I'm about to be 21.
She's about to be 21, okay? Come on. Okay, so anyway, sorry, y'all. First of all, you guys are reading way too deep into whatever body language you think they have going on because you know how much the BTS members, including Jimin, has always showed appreciation toward Namjoon because they care about each other.
And people who are close to you can tell you whatever you want to hear.
Yeah, and the thing is it's not that they have decided that they're going to put Namjoon up on this pedestal. The thing is Namjoon was the first member. Mm-hmm. Okay, he was the first member of the group. He was given an offer. Did he want to be a soloist or did he want to be the leader of a band? Okay?
And he decided to be a leader.
He decided to be the leader, and he has absolutely in every way, shape, and form, and along with a lot of ARMY, has made sure to tell 6 other members basically that you are beneath Namjoon because he is your leader and you are successful because of Namjoon.
Yeah, a lot of ARMYs say that.
Yes, and we can provide all that you need, especially during the Fiesta dinner Festa dinner? Was it Festa? Okay, yes. Festa dinner when Jimin said that we would never think that when Namjoon said that he felt that he speaks too much for the whole group.
But like I said, you can say whatever to appease to that person, especially on camera.
on camera. Also, maybe you guys are blinded by hatred, but there's so many moments between Meanie Moni and all duos of the group because they all love each other.
Well, if you actually listen to the snide comments that RM gives Jimin on a day-to-day basis, you would honestly see there's no love there at all.
Yeah, and that's not to say that Jimin probably doesn't look at him as if he's not family to him. They did spend a good part of their teenage years and their early 20s together. I'm sure there is some feeling there. I doubt it's love, but it might be a mutual respect. Not really sure on that.
And really the fact that almost every Run BTS video that comes on, and we've already said before, we'll actually provide a video with them when we do Jungkook's slide, maybe tomorrow or the day after, I don't really know, where if Jimin has fought with somebody, he does not look at them. And there's a lot of episodes of Run BTS where he's not looking at RM because I'm sure they fought, or RM has said something mean to Jimin and he didn't want to really look at him. So that just tells me that something's going on. And it seems like you don't see all of it in front of your face because why would you do it in front of a camera?
Exactly. But, I think, especially in the one where they were doing the thing where they were painting the rooms and stuff that we the interior design that we were just talking about. I almost think that for a single solitary split second that Namjoon maybe forgot that he was in front of a camera when he did that, because that was the ugliest display of bully mentality I think I've ever seen in any of their videos. Okay, in any of them.
And the thing is, whenever he does anything to or for Jimin, his body language towards Jimin is very aggressive. Which means that he's hostile to him because he doesn't like him.
Okay, so let's continue on because this is a lot and Lexi's got a lot to unload for you guys, okay? So, when Namjoon said that he felt that he speaks... Okay. Also, maybe you guys are blinded by hatred, but there is so many moments between Meanie Moni and all duos of the group because they all love each other. There is other content besides Run BTS. Well, yeah, we know. We've looked at it. Also, of course, Namjoon is going to act competitive during Run BTS, as they do. Yeah. I just say they're very competitive?
Yeah, and the fact that he kicked directly at somebody's face is actually being a sore loser.
And actually, I might go ahead and pull that up here in just a little bit, just where you can see what we're talking about, because maybe by the time we get to that video, you're probably going to even forget about this. So just give me a moment on that as well. Stay with me, guys. Stay with me, okay? Mm-hmm. So anyway, competitive during BTS, they all do, especially Jungkook. Namjoon never puts on an attitude.
Yes, he does.
And I wouldn't say... he's one of the most competitive members. She scored a question. And don't
know why you guys
want the guys to look bad.
We haven't said any of that. No. We just said they're human beings. Y'all act like they're perfect angels who just fallen from heaven. But no, they're human beings that can be just as ugly as you and me.
So the thing is we're not trying to make the members look bad. We're pointing out the shortcomings of RM, Namjoon. Yes, all humans can make mistakes, but they're literally joking around half the time, and the things that you think is bullying is literally not even serious at all.
And do you know that people can hide insults and snide comments as jokes? Because my family are a bunch of narcissists and they do it all the time. So that's how I noticed that behavior.
Okay, so you guys just seem to be projecting on Namjoon to make him look like the worst person.
No, he does it on his own.
And I'm not saying that Namjoon is perfect. She pretty much was. But
she was.
Because no one is, but how you guys continuously bash him and tell him to shut up or act like he's getting treated better compared to the other boys is just not ARMY behavior. Okay, ARMY can have a favorite. It is not a rule for any band that I've ever heard of that you have to like everybody or nobody.
Well, actually, on Quora, people who say things like we do, and we see how some of them could be ugly, a lot of ARMY doesn't want to accept them because they don't have that perfect mentality that the boys can do no wrong. They don't want to accept them.
Right. And I'm not company stan. What's that name? Company stan?
It's for their company, their producers, their directors, and all that. So they don't stand their producers and their company.
Okay, and I'm not company stan or anything, but I don't know why y'all constantly attack the Run BTS producers because they're biased, of course.
They're biased, and also they used to abuse BTS anyway.
When we know the boys are pretty close to them, for example, Tae and Jungkook bringing them along in their vlog Please stop victimizing the boys when there's no reason to. It's very toxic, especially when the boys are clearly having fun and no one seems upset with the staff or any of the other members. Also, the fact that you go to Cora to find out about the BTS members' personalities tells me enough about you guys. You do know that Cora isn't a credible site at all, and it is just filled with BTS antis.
Yeah, that's like I said, they don't want to accept them when they see truth.
Okay. They are trying to stir up rumors and drama.
No, they're not.
Army's huge about stirring up rumors and attacking other people.
Well, you can see here this person is clearly attacking us, didn't go to see anything of what we just mentioned, and is basically throwing out a lot of disgusting accusations about us. So really, this person is more, this is Army behavior, then I don't want to be Army.
And really, the thing is, and when I say they didn't go and look at it, because after I put the big old book to them, in a few minutes that popped up. They didn't go and look at any of the points that we had made.
No, because they just want to bitch somebody out, because that's all they know to do is attack people.
Lastly, the laughing thing that you said, you're joking, right?
Well, for example, RM does never covers his mouth when he laughs. That has never been a thing about him. And suddenly, the same episode, he's copying Jimin's laughing movements, where he falls off the couch like Jimin did on another episode. He covers his mouth. He never does that when he laughs. So yes, he's copying Jimin to look cute.
They aren't one-dimensional characters. They have different sides to them. Namjoon isn't just the serious one, as he can have fun to laugh however the situation makes him laugh. And maybe it's just a habit that he picked up from Jimin.
That was just one episode.
Because when you spend a lot of time with someone, you pick up their habits. I don't see any of them cross habiting.
They don't cross habits. And the thing is, I have been friends with so many people for over several years and something. I have never picked up on their habits.
Literally, and all the caps, okay. Literally, all the boys fall over when they laugh, especially Jay. Why isn't he a copycat to you guys?
Okay, we literally just said that J-Ho falls his own way and Jimin falls his other way. The thing is, they fall on the floor. RM never does that.
Yeah, and they fall very differently. A lot of times, Jimin goes down almost in a squatting position. J-Ho will literally roll on the floor, okay? Two totally different.
And Hubby doesn't cover his mouth. He claps really fast.
Yeah, he does. It's really hilarious. It reminds me of like an old man.
So basically, this person just wanted to nitpick at us and not actually see what we're talking about.
Right. So anyway, a real Army wouldn't call Namjoon a bully. That is a seriously false accusation. BTS always says that 7 of us are nothing, which they do say. They do. But I never said they didn't say that. Okay. So anyway, a real Army wouldn't call Namjoon a bully because this is a serious false accusation. BTS always says it's the 7 of us or nothing. Just leave them alone if you truly don't like Namjoon. That's simple.
Well, you could just leave us alone if you don't like what we're saying.
Okay. Anyway, there are Army members out there all over the world who don't like certain people of the group and who favor other people of the group. We're the same way. So we're not going to be no different about that. Anyway, so we're going to go up here to our last response, and as you can tell, they never commented back. But anyway, since you didn't meet my responses, we're going to do something special for you, and that is what Lexi is fixing to start tonight. It's going to take several days. Let's go with months, because I didn't realize Lexi was going to dive all in every rabbit hole, but she does have a lot of things that are very interesting, okay?
Might as well.
Okay, so to get it together, but we'll provide all the receipts and even receipts from the armies. Be patient, dear, and once we get this together, either you will open your eyes or you remain blind by choice. We've never said we don't like Namjoon. We really hadn't. He's just got a lot of distasteful ways that he acts. It's really ugly sometimes.
He has very toxic behavior. Maybe he can grow out of it one day.
Okay, but not once. Okay, so we didn't say we didn't like Namjoon, not once. I think it's important to point that out. Anyways, we'll be getting some things together for those armies like yourself who refuse to see some really obvious things. As always, your comments are appreciated, and usually a lot of times if there's a critique, I'm going to thank people. I really do appreciate their critiques. This is just a person who is obviously
a very hateful, angry person for no reason. That is
actually, I think, one of the armies that we know that is toxic, okay?
One of those that doesn't want to be set in reality. Alright, we're going to show you one of our receipts.
Yeah, this is one of the receipts, and this is just to show you, and we haven't done this episode. This is actually one of my favorite episodes and I think they really enjoyed it because they were doing things that normal people do, and they haven't been able to do that. But here we go. They're broke up into teams. This is the part where we're talking about where Jungkook does not say the team name.
정국. 정국. 내가 먼저 했다.
You see, he was saying Jungkook.
Everybody was saying their own names.
They were all saying their own names. But Jungkook called first. They called on Jungkook, and they didn't take his answer.
내가 먼저 했다.
As you'll see.
신팀.
There you go.
이름.
They didn't explain that in the rules.
No.
리모델링.
And if you actually read the directions before this, it was never mentioned at all.
It was never mentioned. We usually cut the directions off because we can explain the directions to you as we go along. It's not really that hard to understand. So anyway, poor Jungkook, he was very embarrassed about that. We're not talking about Jungkook, but he was very embarrassed, bless his heart.
So that's subtle body language. He looks actually embarrassed if you pay attention.
He really did.
아 슈가팀.
Yeah,
And it wasn't really his fault because, like we said, they didn't say you need to call your team name.
And also for these people, like especially this army who made that nasty comment, it honestly infuriates me because they say they care about these members so much, but yet they can't see the littlest glint in their eyes to see that they're sad on a daily basis.
Or some disappointment or embarrassment. He was embarrassed.
Yeah,
You could tell he
and
was
a lot of times when
embarrassed.
people nag on Jimin, he immediately curls himself in and looks embarrassed on his face.
Exactly,
It's easy.
which that guy said was what, turtling?
Yeah,
Trying to make himself,
turtling him, but he shrinks himself to make himself
to make himself look small.
Like, he always puts his hands in his pockets and his shoulders go a little above his neck.
Now, anyway, the reason we're going to do this little bitty spat is because we talked about it a lot, because this is probably one of the things that really infuriated me and Lexi. I was like, did I really just see that?
Yeah, 'cause I was the one to pick that. I found that and I showed it to you.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're going to show you.
다음. 안 됩니다.
스텝 찬스권이 걸려있는 문제.
오케이 이거 중요합니다 나름.
청어의 뼈라는 의미로 지그재그 형으로
We're just going to let him go through a couple questions.
슈가 헤링본.
와. 정성뼈.
또 본이 뼈죠 뼈. 예.
Bone means bone. I say that every time. And then it shows the pattern for the herringbone, which I have to say, y'all, herringbone, and this is off the subject, is absolutely my favorite. I love herringbone and I love silver, so there we go, herringbone.
천장과 벽 사이의 마감을 구분하는 방식을 무엇이라고?
Okay. RM. Let's go back and make sure you didn't miss it. Now, this is RM. You're going to see him. Listen to RM.
천장과 벽 사이의 마감을 구분하는 방식을 무엇이라고? 아래.
몰딩.
정답.
Oh, that's impressive.
They called him out, they called his name, and they allowed him to answer. They accepted the answer, but they didn't accept Jungkook.
Yeah, correct. Didn't accept Jungkook's. Okay, let's go to the moment of absolutely infuriating me and Lexi.
근데 RM 아니죠? 슈가.
Okay, he said you didn't say your team name. Sugar.
Which is that's correct.
근데 RM 아니죠? 슈가.
Look at the face.
The embarrassment on his
He's
face.
embarrassed. But they do this to each other, okay? They call out when somebody screws up. That's not nothing different. If they had done the same thing, RM would have too.
They even call at each other when they don't do anything wrong. They're trying to pick at each other.
They
so.
really do, okay? Competition. All right, so Jimin picked up on it. He said, you said RM, you didn't say Jin team, Sugar. And Sugar answered the question, and Sugar and Jungkook was just happy as they could be, and so was Jimin, okay? Let's move forward.
Now, this is supposed to be fun. They're having fun. You see, they're
Yeah,
having
this is fun. We're doing competitions because the competitions is going to let them pick which room they want to do and the furniture and all that kind of stuff. It was really a good episode, except for this one part.
No, he's not sad. He's pissed.
Yeah.
제가 이게 바로 센스.
자, 네 번째
Okay,
디자인된
fourth
벽으로
quiz.
패브릭, 타일, 우드 등으로 장식된 벽을 무엇이라고?
슈가. 슈가.
팀.
슈가.
아, 그 무슨 톤이냐?
Jungkook's just a trio.
우드톤.
There it is.
팀. 아트월.
Now, pay attention to this.
Watch, I'm
please.
going to actually try to blow this up as much as I can where you can see just the absolute evil, bully, narcissist that we've been trying to point out. And I think for a split second, RM totally forgot the cameras were there. Nobody said a word.
Nobody defended Jimin at all.
Nobody. And you got to look at Jimin after, okay? Okay, just out of curiosity, okay? Who's he looking at? What was that about? Let's go back. Let's go back. Okay.
팀. 아트월.
Okay. What we doing? Who's he looking at? Who's he looking at? Who's he looking at?
I need to. Gotta go back to the video.
It's fine. I will. I want to like blow this up.
I know. That's what
Okay. That is perfect, Lexi. I don't
Told
think
you.
you could have done any better than that. Damn it. Okay. Does that look like a happy face right there? Does that look happy? Who's he looking at? Okay.
And he kicked right at him.
And it could kick right at him. Let me see if I'm hoping I can keep this in there.
안트월.
와, 아이,
Now, we're going to go forward just a little bit further because I want you to see how Jimin reacts when RM starts calling to like have answer questions.
달리 보인다, 남준아.
Everybody compliments him. They act like he never did that.
Nope, nobody said
자,
nothing.
2대2입니다.
Okay, he tries to act like he's not bothered.
No, pause. You saw how he looked in his peripheral vision. You saw he stuttered. He don't ever usually do that unless he's been upset or nervous about something.
Do I need to go back?
No, just
Okay.
leave it.
스타일로 세련된
All right, now,
Pay attention to his eyes.
yeah,
Just pay
okay.
attention.
That just happened in front of everybody. Nobody said jack. Okay. Now, when RM calls to answer another question, he will glance over, you know, but you got to watch his face. Okay, he'll glance over very quickly.
진팀.
Yeah, you can totally tell that.
It's like he's sending daggers over Namjoon's way.
Well, I almost think too. The thing is like, you know, not him again. You know, and he just, you know, I think all this is rough. And two, he does his shoulder, and he might have been
His shoulders are
sitting,
slumped.
he could have been sitting in that comfortable position for. I don't really know. I didn't pay it that much attention. The thing is he sort of kind of look. You can tell he doesn't want to look over at RM, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that.
진팀.
Okay, so.
호사링. 아, 아닌가 보다. 아,
Oh, and we got something wrong. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Mr. High IQ got something wrong. Oh my God, and we ain't got the gin yet.
타일?
No, but this is just part of what we're saying. It's subtle, but it's in your face.
진팀. 세라믹?
아닙니다.
세라믹.
See, Jimmy really didn't want to look over there.
He really didn't. He didn't want to look over there anymore after that.
You see, he's trying not to.
Yeah.
He was fine with it earlier. Then after that, Nate doesn't want to. See, he still doesn't want to.
Yeah, he just glanced over there very quickly and then back.
He doesn't want to look. That's something that he does when he's hurt. If you actually cared about him, you would see that.
모노타일.
Monotale. Anyway, transform it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Alright, so this is my huge PowerPoint that I did. Now, I'm only doing a couple of the lower profile ones because I know when I do RMs, I'm going to piss off people. Because
And it's probably going to maybe even go beyond one episode, you think?
well, I don't really think so. It's just we would have to put it in that other thing that we have, that the Windows 10 editor, if it does go longer than the way it's supposed to, because we're not going to have to cut anything out since we're not doing many videos at all.
Right.
But the thing is people have made their own selfish assumptions about each member, even though they profess to care about them so dearly, but yet they can't see the hidden sadness on their face. They can't see the discomfort.
And that's the thing too, is there are truly some Army members out there who are very level-headed and who see things clearly. Does that mean that you hate that person? No, it does not. But if that means that and they ain't nothing no worse in this world than a freaking bully. Okay.
Yeah, and really, in all actuality, I don't really know of any person in the world that hasn't been a victim of bullying once.
Mm-hmm.
But as a person who is frequently bullied for years throughout school, I know what a bully looks like and their behavior. They're narcissists beyond
Mm-hmm.
comprehension, no matter the age, no matter the gender, no matter the race. They act like narcissists
Mm-hmm.
because they like that attention, they like that power. So it's pretty obvious. And besides, most of my family's actually made up of narcissists, so I know the behavior pretty well.
So anyway, she's breaking down Jen tonight. Even I had to read that whole big cotton picking thing, and I really apologize, y'all. But it was important to get that in context, to also flow into this, and to why Lexi did this, and why just do 2 members when you can do all 7 members. So
yeah, but besides, you know how we've said before that Jen's pretty immature about things.
yes.
Well, he's not immature. He's actually the most serious one.
He's just the oldest one.
This is why I'm doing this. He's
Exactly.
he's older for the members, but he actually is a younger brother to his family. He's the
Right.
youngest.
So he was the baby.
So there's going to be times where he's immature because why do you want to feel like the oldest one? You don't want to feel like that all the time. All right, so this is going to be Jen's analysis, not as long as Mr. Narcissist, but and I don't know why the words aren't popping up, but let's place it there. Okay, so he's worldwide handsome. Now, that's pretty shallow for people who love Jen so much, because pretty much the only thing they say about him is his cooking and he's worldwide handsome. What about his other traits? What about his personality? What about his talents? Nothing. Nobody mentions that. They just mention the platonic things, the visual things, not really him being a human being.
Now, I have a question. Didn't you say that name was given to him?
He came up with it as a joke.
Okay.
The thing is, people actually start to say that now as it's almost like it's true. But the thing is,
Oh, we don't need these.
if you actually really think about it, he doesn't like that quote because really the only thing people see is handsome. Well, what about him being a human? I mean, I do hear this all the time from women. Don't sexualize us women just because we look good. Well, don't sexualize him because he looks good. Simple. Just reverse it.
Exactly. All right, so you're going to hit some of the high points.
Yeah, so Jen shares the origins of his worldwide handsome. We already know this. He revealed the roots of his nickname and how it came about. It was a BTS Live trilogy episode for the Wings tour. And he went on to admit the title was a self-designated one, saying, I give myself the name Worldwide Handsome. It's a nickname that I came up with during an interview. Even I find it a little embarrassing to say. See, it's not he boasts about it. It was more so a joke.
But it stuck.
It's stuck, and now that's all people say about him.
And that's what a lot of times what he'll do. He'll say worldwide I'm worldwide Jen, worldwide handsome. Why? This is his thing. This is his shtick as Jen, the member of BTS.
And like I said, over here, if you want to read yourself, I'm not reading all this. You can pause and read. If you don't want to, then you can be ignorant. That's fine with me. The thing is it was meant to be a joke. But now, if anybody mentions Jen, you should see the comments. Like, because I read Wattpad, and I'd see things on Twitter. I see things on Quora. If somebody mentions anything about Jen, the whole comment section is worldwide handsome, worldwide handsome, worldwide handsome. And you know what? That is so, honestly, degrading to just talk about someone's visuals.
I agree.
Without mentioning any of their spiritual qualities.
Or their contributions to the band.
Because he, honestly, even though some of the others are a little lighthearted, he's one of the ones that immediately wants to lighten the mood even when he's nervous. Mm-hmm. He will go out there and behave like a child just so people can lighten the mood up if the room is tense. He always does that. That's why he does the worldwide handsome kiss. He tries to be funny to lighten the mood up because he's nervous.
Exactly.
He's nervous and he's doing it more for himself, but he likes to do it for the others. And he's admitted that in several lives and in several interviews. He does it so everybody can just chill, calm down. It doesn't have to be tense. It doesn't have to be serious. I wanted to be happy and fun. That's what he said. I mean, why just consider somebody just handsome? I mean, he has a lot of contributions to this group. Hell, he helped drive Jungkook to and from school.
Because, like I said earlier, and I get my information from Lexi and reading stuff as well. Jungkook started when he was 13, so he finished his years in school. Jen took him every morning to school.
And then would drive him back home.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. Jen cooked for all of them. He even taught some of them how to cook. He even helped them mostly with a lot of the household chores because he was the oldest one. He already had experience with that at his house. Hell, he was already out of school when they started.
Exactly.
So why aren't you mentioning these other contributions that he does? His vocals are amazing. He does really good. His singing is really eloquent. It's something that really is him.
And he's so not sure
He's so unsure of himself because if you actually pay attention, which I know the people say, well, we love them, you don't pay attention to them as much as you should, because if you actually listen to his songs, especially some of his first solos, his voice sounds strained because he is not confident in his voice and he's trying to outdo what he can do.
Right.
Because he wants to sound more like Jimin, because he said before he's envious of Jimin's voice.
But he hit some really good highs.
But that's the thing, though, is he's not confident. So people saying that we love a confident king, he's not confident. if
Right.
you actually pay attention to him, he's not confident.
No.
He says he's embarrassed with the Worldwide Handsome name. It was meant to be a joke.
And it's stuck.
And it's stuck, and that's all y'all mention about him. He's just the handsome face. And literally the producers say, well, he was only just meant to be a visual. And you know what? The members trained him up to dance and to sing because he wasn't going to be just a visual. Mm-hmm. So they had more respect for him than anybody else. And apparently Army don't have that a lot of respect for him either.
No.
So let's continue before I flip my lid.
All right. Do you want? There you go.
All right, so he's serious. Yeah, he has his serious moments, but he doesn't like being serious. He has said that himself. So people who say, well, he's always serious. He's the serious one. No, he's not. I literally just said in the last slide, he likes to lighten the mood up by being a jokester. Even though he himself is uncomfortable, he wants to lighten the mood up so he feels less stressed.
Yes.
He actually makes jokes and does silly little movements, weird sounds, and all that. Makes it the Worldwide Handsome, does the flying kiss to bring people to laughter. So it kind of relieves his stress.
And as she said previously on any of these slides, really, Lacey's put a lot of time in these. So I do think that you should pause and read because, like I say, she did a lot of research into each individual member and the things that back up what she said about, the personalities and things like that. So really, it's a great read, and it's coming from the brainchild of my child.
See, and here, he even said, this is stuff he said personally. I got things he said.
And she didn't go to one place, okay?
No, I went to several places.
She went to many
I made
places.
sure that what information I put in here was on several different websites. I hate it when there's a serious atmosphere. When people are too serious, I always try to lift the mood up. Mm-hmm. This is coming from Jen himself.
And he told that to Vogue Korea, saying in an interview.
Jen told Vogue Korea. Usually when a serious person and a jovial person have a conversation, one of them gives in. Usually the conversation ends up becoming serious, but with me it's different because he tries to lighten the mood up because he himself is stressed. He doesn't like that atmosphere.
It's pressure.
It's pressure on him. And the thing is, he's an introvert. And the thing is, even though extroverts, we say, well, I get shy on this and, it's very noticeable. Well, introvert people, it's not really noticeable because they're used to hiding in their shell. And usually we feel the atmosphere way more than extroverted people because they're more concerned about making human relations than protecting your
and
inner
introverts
side.
like to hide in the background a lot of times.
Yeah, and really that's why Jen doesn't like being in the center like they would want him to be as a visual. Because visuals always stay in the center. He doesn't want to be in the center because he's not an attention seeker. He only just does things for funny reasons to get people to be calm.
Right.
Or try to loosen things up. See, and since Singer revealed one of the qualities that gets him going is, as one of the biggest artists in the world, his ability to have fun. So, yeah, he's not always serious.
No.
So don't keep telling me that he's serious. He tries to be not so serious all the time. That's why he's not really the serious member of BTS, because otherwise that whole group would be of just a bunch of people with thorns up their asses.
Yeah, and you can't be serious all the time. What's the fun in that?
No, and that's the thing though, is if you really think about it, RM's always serious. Yeah, you may say otherwise. No, he's always serious. If you see their debut photos of each other, the only one that's scowling is RM. Everybody else is actually smiling or attempting it. He looks angry when they first joined the group. So yeah, he's real fun.
And they did have a bunch of arguments in the beginning.
And they had plenty of arguments, and several members actually said RM started most of the fights. So anyway,
yeah, we'll get to that when she gets to RM.
I'm just not going to say anything because I don't know anything. Right. I'm not.
Do they pause and read these? We tried to make these as big as we could. That way you could be able to see what was going on.
Right. So the eldest, he's the eldest.
Right.
Amazing things about having older brothers. Now like I said, I tried to be as accurate as possible since I know there's some skeptics on here who don't really like what I'm saying. He taught you how to understand boys and men alike. Yeah, he pretty much did. He helped them with their maturity.
He felt like he did actually raise the younger ones himself. He said that.
Well, I mean, that's actually how most of the K-pop groups are. I mean, because I'm learning more about some of the other K-pop groups, like Red Velvet. The oldest one, Irene, had basically raised the youngest one, Gary. She says that because she cooked for her and she drove her to school. They basically raised the younger ones because they had plenty of time to go to school. And they're usually a pretty big age gap. And that's the thing, is they teach you about your mannerisms, your patience, your level-headedness. It even helped with academics. I mean, because he was already out of school, he had time for that. and he basically helped the younger ones be raised up because they had a few years of high school left, and Jungkook had to go all through high school, and they all went to his middle school graduation. So that is how much time he has had to raise Jungkook in the best way he
his
could.
high school graduation too.
Yeah,
right?
they went to both of them.
Okay, so all right.
And so he introduced you to sports. Well, no, not really. Jin's not really a sporty kind of guy. He didn't really like it. He taught you how to compete. He basically taught manners. He taught chivalry. He'll always protect you. Oh yeah, he made sure he could protect Jungkook any way he could. I mean, if a little bit of skin showed on Jungkook, all the members, especially Jin, would cover him up, make sure he was protected. Yes, you sexualized a child.
Yep.
I guess you're all a bunch of predators now.
Yeah.
So he looks to you to keep him accountable. Yes, sometimes he does get a little unhinged, and he has to be brought back into place. I mean, being the oldest one, honey, you got a lot to deal with as the oldest one. You get to be his personal stylist. Oh yeah, Jungkook always helped him with his style. And you will never need to hire a mover. Well, yeah, no, because they have like six older brothers.
Yeah.
You got to teach him about girls. He teaches you self-defense. I mean, he basically raised Jungkook. So he had to be serious.
What he did with the younger ones, especially with guidance and stuff like that. I mean, because they didn't have their parents there, you know.
Yeah, they didn't have the parents, and he basically had to be the parent because the producers weren't going to raise them up because the parents don't really care about them.
And the parents, I'm sure they probably weren't allowed to talk to them. Like every day you live with your parents, I'm sure they were going to miss a whole lot. So somebody had to take that role.
Well, especially during training days, they weren't really allowed their phones.
Yeah.
So they couldn't contact their parents for months. And that's the thing is Jungkook actually wanted to leave within the first few days of being a trainee because he was homesick.
He was homesick.
He's 13.
Right, but he was teaching them the important things that needed to be taught to young men that they needed to learn.
See, now he's not a bad brother, but I do say he does have some traits here and there. But I think that was a little while ago. I think he kind of matured over the Run BTS episodes. But some of the earlier ones, it was always seemed like a competition. Yeah, he was pretty competitive. He doesn't respect boundaries yet because he would make quote unquote, quote jokes that were pretty insulting, especially to people's insecurities, especially Jimin's weight.
And that was one of the ones that we sort of kind of railed about.
And everybody, the few comments that was on there was like, you're being too harsh.
Yeah, it didn't bother Jimin as much as we made it out to be. We do already have that on there, and that was, which episode was that one about? It was some.
It was the young versus old teams.
Yes, there you
But the thing is if you actually looked at Jimin, like I said, if you really pay attention to people, that shows that you care. But I don't think y'all care.
We do feel like, or she does feel like that he did mature. He is now actually in active duty in South Korea, and I will say that after many episodes, interviews, and things that I have seen just on my own, I did finally earn some respect for Jin.
I mean, like I said, I've earned respect for him because I think he's matured over the years. It was just some of the earlier years. I think he might have been going through probably stresses being in BTS. Hell, they couldn't go to their family. They were always training. They had lack of sleep, lack of food. A lot of them were basically starving the entire time.
And he had a really hard time learning a lot of the dances. He was always the last one to learn, and I think that just put added pressure on him.
Yeah, it did, because the thing is, he felt like he wasn't good enough. He was having to learn to sing. He didn't feel like he was a good vocalist. He was having to learn how to dance. And he felt like he wasn't doing enough for the team, and he was an embarrassment because he was always a few steps behind everybody else. But the thing, though, is he had two different things on top of that. Everyone had to learn at least one thing. He had to learn both.
Right.
So, I mean, you honestly can't blame him, but it was almost something that he did as a defense mechanism, trying to be better than somebody else or something else. But he just needed to get his groove instead of being pressured on it. But the thing is the producers, as we've said before, don't care about them. They care about their money.
Yeah.
They pushed them to the limits to where they were tired, exhausted, almost malnutritioned. I mean, because if you've seen all of the K-pop groups, you're not going to see anyone that's overweight.
So start hitting some of the things you found about Jin, the nagging and the teasing. We'll try to do some of the high points because this is quite lengthy. Make sure that you pause where you can read these things. Emotional manipulation, basically nagging. Or nagging can be so subtle at first sight that you don't see it. Well, yeah, it's supposed to be a joke. Right.
But after all, everyone says something they wish they hadn't on occasion. But the thing is sometimes people wish they could say something so badly to somebody so they make it look like a joke, but so they can make you hear it.
Yes.
So if you were to say something insulting in a joking way, you still got your insult out, but you try to cover it up as it being a joke. So it's like, well, you're just overreacting. Like that toxic little brother and the other one. Well, you're overreacting. No. That's not how it is, especially when it's somebody's insecurities you're talking about.
Exactly.
It keeps happening and slow escalation. Yeah, because the insults did get a little harsher each time. Make no mistake about it. And really, that's part of manipulation. It's part of emotional manipulation. If you've ever been emotionally abused, that's one of them.
And
So
the manipulation's actually on the next one too, so that's going to lead directly into that.
well, I'm just saying, for if anybody has ever experienced that, that's part of it. And they give you backhanded compliments. They get you feeling pretty good, then they knock you down. That's actually something that RM does gym pretty frequently. But Jen did it a frequent bit for the younger members and with J-Hope. Now, he hasn't done that anymore because I think he's matured and now he
Over
feels...
the years, yeah.
He's now like, well, I know how it feels, so I'm not going to do it anymore. They compare you to other people. Yes, they do. They always compare each other to Namjoon. They compare them to J-Hope or something like that.
And it's bad when you have kids. Maybe a parent will say, why can't you be more like your brother? Or why can't you be like... That kind of thing.
I have experience with that too, because one of my friends actually was compared to her older sisters who weren't even blood related to her.
Because she was adopted.
She was adopted, but she was always told, well, I wish you were like this sister. I wish you were like that sister. And it made her depressed and honestly a little suicidal, because that was emotional manipulation. They insult you under the guise of constructive criticism. Yeah, there's a fine line between constructive criticism and insulting. It's pretty obvious, especially when you see the other person's face drop. You know, they always want to one up you. Yeah, they do. That's pretty easy. Now, Jen didn't really do the one upping. He didn't do that.
But that's part of some of the breakdown when you were looking into things. Okay.
They disguise insults as questions. Yeah, if you notice, some members actually do that, and I do point it out. But you know, they're always just joking when you call them on it.
Exactly.
That's part of my point. And yes, this is from a psychology page.
Yes.
They make you feel sorry for voicing concerns. Yeah, pretty much, if Jimin would say anything to anybody, they shut him down immediately. They don't want him to voice anything out. They redirect your concern to make themselves into the victim. Yep.
And that's almost like a narcissist kind of thing.
It is a narcissist thing, because the thing is, they have to have your attention based on their popularity. They like the good attention, they like the bad attention. They like any type of attention as long as it's attention on them.
Okay.
So
go down to you. Now, I wouldn't read everything on there, but I would definitely hit those points on the manipulation.
like I said, just pause it and read it, because I don't want to go through everything, because this would be like 2 or 3 hours if I were to. 14 types of manipulation in relationships. Now, these are common, like I said, from my psychology page. So no, I'm not making this up.
Guilt tripping, isolation.
Trying to limit access to your inner circle or community. Now, if you were to pay attention to behaviors among a lot of them, does it look to you like Jin and Jimin are kind of secluded by themselves a lot? Or is that just me? Put in a third party to try and persuade you to do something. Yeah, it's pretty obvious, especially when the members, if they want to persuade somebody, they pull RM in to do it.
Yes.
Because he's the leader.
Yes.
Triggering your insecurities, put downs, or casting insults disguised as jokes. I'm not making this up.
No.
I read this on the psychology page. Like I said, read the rest of this for yourselves if you want to, get some truth in your life. Signs of manipulative behavior. There's plenty of signs, but these are the more common ones.
Now, how was it that you got to Jen was manipulative, though?
Well, I'm showing how he can and can't be, because there's some ways of manipulating.
Okay.
Now, there's lying, denying, passive-aggressive behavior, gaslighting, silence, criticizing, withholding, and blaming. Getting a person outside of their comfort zone to give themselves an advantage.
Right. And these are just some of the things that Jen did.
Yeah, well, the thing is, they're not all it, but a couple of them he did do.
He did do.
But these are all, these are signs of being manipulative.
Right, so we're not saying he was all of these things, but these were the manipulative behaviors, and that does not exclude the other members. She's just doing Jen tonight.
So manipulative behavior can also serve other purposes. For instance, control and manipulation can help the manipulator by causing doubt and confusion, helping them avoid conflict, concealing their true intentions, allowing them to avoid responsibility for their behavior, not having to change their behavior. Now, for people who like to say, well, they've kind of molded in each other's personalities, or they haven't. The thing is, if they are narcissistic and a little sociopathic, they can easily mirror somebody else's personality and their behaviors to look that way, so they can basically trick everybody else. That's how they actually are. Anyway, signs of manipulative behavior, there's more. Now,
Pause and read.
Pause and read, because this is stuff that you would need to see. You see this all the time in daily behavior.
Right.
And the same ones before, some a little more detail. Sometimes it's a personality disorder, sometimes it's history of abuse, and sometimes it's just they want to feel power.
And so there's some helpful information in there as well.
See, and there's how to stop manipulation, and the thing is, you can see all this stuff. The members don't do any of that to help anyone else if they're the victims of this.
Okay. So I think you ought to get down to, okay, if you want to go ahead and do that one then.
Now, he is easily susceptible to bad. The reason why I know this, he's a Sagittarius. Any person I've ever been friends with that is a Sagittarius easily take in what everybody else does on the outside. So, for example, if one of my ex-friends was Sagittarius, she was around somebody who was very, very talkative. Now, she's usually very quiet, like me. She would talk everybody's ears off because she conformed to how the other person behaved. So if they were very negative, then she would get in on the negativity and insult somebody. She kind of had that gang mentality. Basically what can susceptible mean: open, subject, or unresistant to some stimulus, influence, or agency, which could be negative. And the thing is, negativity rubs off easier than good.
Yes.
So,
bad rubs off, good typically don't.
Yeah. So, some common synonyms: susceptible is exposed, liable, open, prone, sensitive, and subject. I mean, think about all the times you've been around bad people in your life, whether that be friends or relatives, and their negativity rubs off on you and you behave the same way they do. That's what this is. Jen's birthday. There's actually meanings of every single person's birthday of the year. Like, for example, he's born on December 4th.
This is going to be the interesting, if you got lost or fell asleep in some of the other explanations, this is going to break down Jen and his personality and provide you with the receipts of said traits.
All right, so now I did all of everything. I did every type of horoscope there was. But first, you can actually look up on Google, what is a person's personality that's born on December 4th. Don't include the year, because then it's going to go to like a Chinese zodiac. December 4th, 1992, the captain, which is as you can see, Sagittarius, is the common. Authoritarian, hypocritical, and inflexible is his dark sides. Now, that could be it. It's not going to say that this is exactly what it is, but these could be dark traits of his personality, basically being born on December 4th.
You did the positive ones too, or you did just the darks?
Yes, I'm going to get there. Okay. At your best, you're powerful, ambitious, and inspirational. He's very inspirational, and he's very ambitious when he wants to be. I mean, he constantly practiced all the time because he had to learn how to sing and dance. He did a lot of practicing, and people have to have ambition in order to do that. They're risk takers who never play it safe. A Sagittarius born on December 4th typically has revolutionary opinions and is a trendsetter, pretty much. They can be difficult to get along with, especially when they refuse to back down from an argument. Western astrological zodiac. Now, here's Sagittarius common traits. Then there's the positive and negative traits all set out for you. So they're playful, humorous, laid back, they're gamblers, adventurous, enthusiastic, strong-minded, clingy, curious. Now, let's see. Here we got optimistic, generous, friendly, idealistic, far-sighted, open-minded. But there's boastful, mouthy, tactless, opinionated, messy, reckless, immature, selfish.
And this is all zodiacs have positives and negatives.
Yeah, I never just go to read a positive set. I need to know the full boundaries of everything. Like, example, if you're doing tarot cards and you were to get a card and it says this, well, I would read both just in case to see if it kind of resonates with you, because sometimes you need to work on the negative things. But these things could be what he has. I'm not saying they are, but they could be. But
those are Sagittarius.
Those are Sagittarius traits.
And he is Sagittarius. We'll just throw that back in there, okay?
Now, astrological birth chart. So his sun is Sagittarius, moon is Aries, Mercury Scorpio, Venus Capricorn, Mars Cancer, Jupiter Libra, Saturn Aquarius, Uranus Capricorn, Neptune Capricorn, Pluto Scorpio, Lilith Pisces. These go a little deeper. People with sun in Sagittarius are trustworthy and justice-loving people. They are honest and straightforward, do not sugarcoat, and talk to the point. These natives understand the difference between living and existing. They are freedom-loving individuals with a love for the outdoors. Yeah, he does. This is where we start getting into the nitty-gritty. The sun is just the basics. But basically all these other planets more your personality and the way you behave and the little intricacies. Aries is a fire sign, and people with moon in Aries are usually independent and happy to be on their own. Yeah, he's an introvert. He likes that solitude. He likes being alone, but he likes to be with other people too. At least if he trusts them. They like challenges and new things, but dislike overt expressions of emotions and prefer when everyone is direct and self-sufficient. Pretty much. Pretty much. Mercury in Scorpio. When Mercury travels through Scorpio, it's like Mercury is shining a light on all the darkest parts of ourselves. And think about it, he tries to be positive when everybody's negative. He's trying to bring it back to the positivity, bring the light back, even if he's in the dark himself. We become more aware of our fears and desires and the way that others' lives impact our own. We can bond in much more intimate ways because we're able to discuss topics that are normally off limits. He's pretty straightforward when he has to talk about something. He pretty much is. I mean, 'cause why have a filter with people you trust? You need to get this off your chest somehow. Venus in Capricorn is a more serious transit for the planet of love, and our love and social activities will have a more traditional, enduring, and committed flavor, according to psychic astrologer. Love and friendships may take on a more committed or serious tone during this period. Now you see, he's pretty serious with all of them on a relationship standpoint. He doesn't really take any of them really for granted because he tends to return it in any kind of way he can. People with this placement are often extremely emotional, Mars and Cancer individuals, and become very fired up about everything they feel. Well, yeah, because people, the group members always say if they play games with Jen, he immediately starts cussing them out. He gets pissed off when they're playing games. Emotional connection is a top priority, and they often express the need to be a caretaker or nurturer those around them.
Well, he practically raised the younger members.
Am I getting you yet? Jupiter in Libra brings on a natural tendency to find luck when approaching the world from a fair and balanced perspective. He tries to be balanced about things. He tries not to pick sides, especially after he's matured. Often these people will be drawn to partnerships and find fortune blesses these unions as if by finding their perfect mirror in business or love, the world works more fluidly for them. Let's see, we've got Saturn in Aquarius. People pick up on your capabilities and will gravitate towards you when they need support. Yeah, because he's the older brother. He has a stable mind when he needs to be. He's always said that before. He likes to be immature, but he likes to be serious when he has to. They can sometimes be draining on you and may result in you learning to push people away. You may also have a difficult time falling in love if you have learned this lesson too well. Uranus in Capricorn. Uranus and Capricorn individuals are often ambitious and have strong leadership qualities. Yeah, he can be a good leader if he wants to be. It's just usually he doesn't like that position.
And as a matter of fact, just going off the topic just a hair, Jen is in the military and actually is leading a whole squadron or group of people
because he's
himself.
actually gained that confidence after being, instead of being in a group where his producers and his leader keep, pushing him down with insults and directing him, he's actually directing people because now he's gotten that experience.
Exactly.
He likes it.
He's been put in charge.
They can face a challenge and emerge victorious if they manage their energy well and have a well-defined motivation towards success. They, as a person who like to stay organized, you enjoy efficiency and being on time. Yes, he does. He's always efficient about things. That's why he felt like a disappointment when he was behind on his dances. Get it? Neptune and Capricorn. People are mysterious, like their ruling planet. They tend to be compassionate and idealistic. The majority of people with this placement have a sincere interest in philosophies and religions. I mean, so a lot of times they're not really specifically religious because they like learning about all the religions in the world. Many also work to improve the lives of others. Yeah, he does. because he's actually helped out his brother with his restaurant.
His brother has a restaurant. Yep.
Pluto and Scorpio natives are sensitive to their environment, are emotionally intense, are intrigued by the mysterious, and seek spiritual regeneration, sweeping away anything that stands in the way of their quest. Yep. Whether that makes him uncomfortable, he's a fire sign, he's going to go for it. With Lilith in Pisces, now this one here. With Lilith in Pisces, you're lost in a dream world of your own. So that can be part of the ambitious part. Could also be the part where he's insecure about things. I mean, you think about it, you have a whole other world in your mind. The twins note you enjoy your fantasy world more than reality thanks to your vivid imagination, because this makes sure you see people for who they are rather than projecting a fantasy onto them. Celtic Druid Tree Zodiac. He's the elder, the seeker. When I talk about that ambition, he's a seeker. People born of the Celtic Elder Tree sign love living their life with freedom and have a strong sense of adventure. They are not the type to settle into one place. Well, they're fire signs, of course they wouldn't. So the strengths and weaknesses of the elders. Let's see. So here's some weaknesses of the Druid Zodiac. People are often judged for being the black sheep or the outsider. They can sometimes act cold-blooded and insensitive and have a hard time choosing their friends wisely. See, they can have outbursts of anger and are very impatient. In work settings, they can be demanding co-workers, especially to those who don't work at the same quick pace as they do. Remember the kimchi challenge where they were making kimchi and he was doing it all by himself and his other two members, RM and Tate, were taking their sweet time? He started yelling at them and saying, "You better hurry up, I'm doing this all by myself." Simple. Simple. In their romantic relationships, they desire to be open. Yeah, he's pretty open about things, especially when he's closer to people, so that would be pretty obvious. Chinese Zodiac. It took me a little while to figure this one out. He is a yang water monkey. Now, that's going a little deep, but you need to go deep in order to understand people. Although circumstances may fall upon them in work, they need to stay calm and do not stretch their arms further than they can in case of poor performance at last. He has learned that over the years. He is not overly pushing himself because that's just going to strain his body instead of actually learning how to do what he needs to do. And you can see when he's in the military now, he looks way more calm. He looks relaxed. He looks confident. And he looks healthy. He looks healthy. He's put on weight because he's healthy now. He's able to have 3-course meals. Anyway, you can read all that for yourself. You can pause on the good traits, bad traits. They're funny, lively, quick-witted, outgoing, humorous, active, resourceful, flamboyant, energetic. Bad traits, not serious. Blunt and direct. Sometimes they're thoughtlessness. They're scatterbrained. Yeah, he does get scatterbrained when he's overwhelmed. They're flighty. They're jealous. They're conniving. They're selfish, easily discouraged, and phony. Just gonna lay that out there. Hope I've planted a seed by now. Egyptian Zodiac.
She looked him up on she looked him up on all the zodiacs.
I did that for everybody.
Yeah, and so the thing is, we're not saying live by the zodiac. We're saying that the zodiac actually does
provide evidence to my point.
Provide evidence to her point of personalities and traits and all that. But I said in there. Osiris, however you pronounce it. I don't know. I just found out that we're not Egyptian.
Well, I just found out Egyptians had a zodiac. They're decisive, honest, and self-confident men of this sign are always ready to share their plans. I had to make sure I was writing about a man because the females of this zodiac are very different. They perfectly understand that their life can change at any moment. That's why it's so important to always have a spare plan. The Osiris man is prone to depression and introspection. Somebody who is very insecure about himself. Good traits and bad traits. So they're determined, passionate, independent, goal-oriented, merciful, forgiving, leaders, nature lover, nurturing. Bad traits: judgmental, misunderstood, indecisive, short fuse, mouthy, followers.
Scatterbrained too. That was another one.
Argumentative, bossy, and flighty. Look, there's several of them that still say
that repeat on different zodiacs, which is really interesting.
And the zodiacs didn't know each other. These people who made the zodiacs didn't know each other across the different worlds and religions. These are actually from different decades. right, let's continue. Hopefully you're pausing and reading everything I put on here because I did go through most for this. So
She really did, y'all. So please at least humor her. Read some of this stuff. It does break down how a person acts if they were born under that zodiac, under that moon, and where all the planets were aligned. It's really crazy how accurate these things are.
And all the zodiacs fit. Now, some of them may not be exactly the same, but a lot of the traits that are common do repeat, even though these people from different years and time frames, and they made the zodiacs. Dana Rashi, which is also part of Sagittarius, is the Hindu zodiac. So we got Sagittarius traits, and Sagittarius man is positive and negative traits. Like I said, pause this, read a lot of the intricacies. Is positive traits: sincere, truthful, fair, generous, farsighted, philosophical, self-dependent, energetic, jovial, intelligent. Negative traits: boastful, overconfident, brash, unpredictable, blunt, aggressive, inflexible, inconsistent, and casual. I'm just gonna keep looking at y'all.
Yep.
I'm gonna do what's the movie that was like? Silence of the Lambs. I'm gonna do I'm looking directly in your eyes.
Exactly.
Native American zodiac. I didn't know they had a zodiac. He is the owl birth totem. Now, if you look at the northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, I made sure I knew what hemisphere they were in.
I'm telling you, she did some research, y'all. Come on.
Owl people are seekers of truth. Which other one said he was a seeker? Literally, his birthday was called Seeker.
The Seeker. Yeah.
Anyway, the restless owl's love is always honest. They're restless, pretty much. On this turn of the medicine wheel, owl's lesson is to remove pride and call in tolerance. I'm seeing the pride and the boastfulness and the arrogance. Good bit.
She's making sure that y'all haven't fell asleep, okay, y'all?
Like I said,
and I'm not bored. It's just I kept telling her she really needed to get through this thing because it was going deep.
Now, I will go into more of the personality parts over here, but these are some of the elements that make up the owl totem.
Okay.
So we have spiritual imagery. They're pretty feminine. Yeah, he's pretty feminine. He acts more like a nurturing mother than anything, but he does not like the term of Mother Jen. Do not call him mother, otherwise you are honestly insulting him. He said it himself. They're very caring. Yes, he's very caring. He cared for all of them like they were his brothers. Positive traits: adaptable and trustworthy. Yeah, he's had to adapt over the years to be, outgoing, even though he was introverted.
And I'm sure he was trustworthy.
Negative traits: restless and loud. He likes to start a lot of arguments, especially when they're doing games. He's pretty loud about it.
He is very loud about some stuff, but it's hilarious when he gets loud sometimes.
Now, when I do the others, listen to this. These are compatibilities. He's more compatible with falcons than salmons. If you were to see what the other totems of the other members are, you can tell that those people who don't have totems he's compatible with are the ones he tends to have more friction with. He does have more disagreements with them. Let's see, some conscious desire, applying the spiritual to the physical to bring about healing. He often exaggerates and is concerned with status. Yeah. That has been a thing. Keywords: optimistic, far-seeing, insightful, direct, and self-indulgent. Okay. Go to the next one. MBTIs. I did the old and the new.
And you might need to go into what the MBTIs are just really, really quickly for those who don't know.
It's basically a psychological breakdown of your personalities based on your intuitions, your extrovertedness, introvertedness, your judgment versus perspectives and all that, and you basically answer questions and it tells you which one you are.
Right. And sometimes those can fluctuate a little bit with maybe maturity. Also, maybe what specifically might be going on, because sometimes those answers can change. But
yep. So here's healthy and unhealthies.
so he's an INTP. Now, would you say
He is an INTP. I don't think he's changed at all because they didn't have any of his changes. I think he said he was continuing to be INTP.
And pause that for one thing. Not pause it, but up in the corner that says MBTI, you can actually Google that, and you can go and take the MBTI test yourself. They're pretty interesting. So what his come out was the INTP. Just going to go with that. So continue.
Yes.
I apologize.
Unhealthy INTPs are know-it-alls. They're mean, self-hating, critical, highly emotional, explosive, and oblivious.
And he took the test himself. This was what he came up as, and that is the breakdown of the INTP.
Healthy INTPs are thoughtful, kind, altruistic, coolly confident, creative, fun, and hardworking. I can see both those traits in him. Because he's not really completely healthy, but he's also not completely unhealthy.
Right.
He's very highly emotional. He's self-hating. He's sometimes is a very critical person, and he's very explosive. But he's also thoughtful, and he's creative, and he's hardworking.
Right.
So, Jen's face analysis.
A face says a lot. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, it's actually the thing is people have figured out ways that how your face is how it's connected to your brain and how you behave. Because the thing is people were given several different surveys by looking at a person's face. Now, a lot of these times it's more of how people perceive you, but they also made these people who were said to be this way or that way take a test on what they thought about this and this. So this is basically years and years of surveys of different face types. So confidence, according to Stevens, a person's width to length face ratio determines their confidence levels. Now, you got narrow faces and you got wider faces. People tend to get their faces mixed up, but if you actually put their face in a photo examiner, don't judge with just your eyes. If you were to put them in a face, I can't remember what it would be called, but you put it on there to basically see what kind of face shape they have. He has a oval face.
And obviously you got a comparison next to him.
I got a comparison of Tay, which basically he's more of like a square, almost round shape. It's more manly and broad. So I would say more of a square than anything, because it's not very curvy like Sugar's is. Now, Jen's face is on the narrower side, noticeably longer than it is wide. This suggests that Jen is cautious by nature. Yeah, he's pretty introverted. Jen's face is oval shaped, which makes it more narrow than wide. If you actually want to look that up, look up on Google and see if the oval faces or circular faces or square faces are more narrow. They'll tell you like it is. Friendliness. A person's friendliness is measured by measuring the distance between the top of the eye to the eyebrow compared to the height of the eye. Hobie's is pretty close to his eyelid. Jen's is higher up than his eyelid, which means Jen's he's somewhere in between. He's not completely high. I've seen people with way brows.
Oh, yeah.
But, which is surprising, he's a social butterfly, but he's also an introvert. So he's kind of in between. He could be both. It depends on the situation.
Well, you said too, he's a Sagittarius, and maybe it's sort of kind of a blend thing.
It blends in. I mean, he's an introvert by nature, but Sagittarius makes him be a little more outgoing when he has to be. Tolerance. People with wider set eyes tend to be more tolerant of errors than people with close set eyes. Jen has close set eyes. RM has wider set eyes. Subtle, but it's true. So, not completely true, but there's more to the wideness of your eyes than what little is listed above. Yeah, there's not a lot listed about any of that. Because this website, and I'll have the link for it probably a little later down, probably put it in the description just so you can see. The people who made the list before I actually had to refine and go through to make sure their information was correct, is pretty biased. Anyway, I ain't gonna say nothing about that. Continuing on. Humor is Jen's comedic genius, the result of nature or nurture. He's born with it because the thing is, the filter is this part here. If it's longer, you tend to be more humorous. If it's smaller, you tend to be more serious. Jen has a long philtrum compared to RM's short philtrum. Jen's more humorous than RM is. RM is more on the serious side. What was it again about RM being serious?
Yeah, he's not so serious, is he?
Okay. Generosity. Depends on the lip shape. Now, they only went from thin lips to full lips. Not true. You need to go a little deeper. Now, some people have thinner top lips and fuller bottom lips. Sometimes they have smaller lips, wider lips. I mean, there's different ways you can go about it. So I had to go really to figure out what his lip type was. So he has full lips. Individuals with thinner upper lips are usually quieter and more concise than their thicker lipped counterparts. Now, that's not completely true. So he has fuller lips. Among all the different lip shapes, naturally fuller lips are the most desired and common lip shape. To begin with, they look fuller and rounder than any other type. Also, those puckers are always likely to have this, you know. So personality traits, people with fuller lips are generally social, good at networking, and enjoying being around people. Now, he does, depending on who the people are. They're very expressive with their facial expressions. He makes some really good faces. Y'all know that.
He really does.
Let's see. So, despite their outgoing nature, people with such powers are also known for being loyal friends and partners. They value honesty and trust in relationships, and they will do whatever it takes to maintain them. Moreover, they usually indicate an empathetic personality with an impressive parenting instinct. Who raised the others?
Jen.
Worldview. Now, this one was kind of not really it, but you know, they try to say, well, the eyelids is more. Well, the thing is, they didn't really go too deeply into the eyelids. I had to go a little deeper about that. Describes people with thin eyelid folds or no eyelid folds. Now, you can't do that. If you have a eyelid fold, you are in that category regardless of how small it is. If you don't have any, then you don't have any. There's only two sides to this. So Jen has eyelid folds, as you can see, unless you're blind. Jimin doesn't have any eyelid folds.
And she's putting the two together just to show the difference.
I'm putting the two so you see it.
See, there's a difference. Okay.
So Jen is pretty much now. So eyelid folds by Jen. Now he has eyelids. There is more to the analytics. Basically, he is more
decisive
and analytical. But the thing is, I went a little deeper with the eyelids down in the next one. So I'm gonna take a smoke break. So she wants to continue with her lung cancer. Anyway,
Shut up.
so Jen's face analysis, I had to go into a little deeper. So we have large eyes versus small eyes, rounded versus almond eyes, close set versus wide eyes, prominent versus deep set eyes. There's downward versus upward turned eyes, and there's dark brown, average to close set, almond eyes. Now these are basically what his classifications of his face. So the size of your eyes is an indication of how you view the world and how you react towards it. Larger eyes are associated with openness, passion, and creativity. People with larger eyes tend to be more empathetic and act with emotion over logic. Now, Jen tends to have more wider eyes than some of the other Asians I've seen before. They tend to have more smaller eyes. Let's see. So, let's see here. So he has average to big eyes. So larger eyes are associated with openness and passion and creativity. People with larger eyes tend to be more empathetic and act with emotion over logic. So that's his classification. Rounded versus almond eyes. Now he has almond eyes. If you actually put it in a face scanner, it will show you he has almond eyes. People who have almond shaped eyes are more prone to be cautious. This caution actually leads to be more balanced life because it's easier to remain calm in situations when you're prepared. He tends to plan ahead of time because he is a very introverted person, so that would be more of an instinctual thing for him. But it could also be because of his eyes, because the eyes do connect to the brain. So we have close set versus wide set eyes. He has average to close set. Close set eyes indicate someone who is content with routine and a traditionalist. These people do not desire change as much as others, and he really doesn't like change that much. He likes to be in a stable environment because he has to be ready to plan things, especially when it comes to their travels and things. He has to have things in order for the future for himself. So we have prominent versus deep set eyes. Now, when it comes to his eyelids, that would actually indicate that he has prominent eyes, because the prominence would actually make the dip of the eyelid. So a person with eyes that protrude from the socket will be friendly and sensitive. They typically have a worrisome and pessimistic nature, but betray the nature of an extrovert. Now, they almost have to because it's instinctual to blend. And last but not least, we have downward versus upward turned eyes. Now, he has straight set eyes. He doesn't have them really turn up or down. I do have the scale here. You have to draw a line just straight across, and you can see that they don't go over or under the lines. It means he has straight across eyes. He's balanced, not overconfident, and not overconfident to be arrogant. So basically, he's not confident, but he's also not really confident, like overconfident either. He can have a little bit of balance to it. So, like I said, this is all the information if you want to read further in there, but these are his classifications that I actually went to links to. Like I said, line here, you can see they're not upward or downward turn, which is actually the biggest indication of how you behave and think. I don't go into eye color because eye color doesn't really always necessarily tell you your personality.
And a lot of times, too, with certain nationalities, they have a very common eye color.
Exactly. Like with black people and Asians, they mostly have brown eyes.
Mostly. Not all, but.
And Hispanics, they do. But you will get a few here that'll have blue, or they'll have amber, or they'll have hazel. But mostly it's brown. Brown's the most common eye color in the world, and you honestly can't tell that everybody's this way or that way. No,
Especially when it's Asians that we're talking about, because that is extremely common.
Yeah, it is. It's very common. Jen knows analysis. Yeah.
Yeah, she
I went to links to tell you. Because why is it that sometimes you look at a person and you say, that person looks mean? It's because it's a part of their facial features. I'll tell you that way. So he has a Roman nose. Like I said, I went through great lengths. You have a very strong personality. Yes, he very much is, because he's Sagittarius. No joke there. Your ambition is highly contagious. There's ambition again. You find joy in challenges. You will most likely make a great leader. You seldom lack the stamina for getting things done or achieve your desired goal. Yeah, he can be lazy. He admits it. You're headstrong. Your strategic mind helps you inefficiently organize things, weigh both sides of a issue, and achieve immense prosperity, usually by middle age. You exhibit a bossy nature. You like to be in control of things and stay ahead of the crowd, and not in terms of walking ahead of them, but with respect to knowledge, trends, latest happenings, etc. In fact, you're more likely to pick up on things earlier than others before the crowd notices it. And you'll be the top of the rest of decisions. Now, eyebrows and face shape. Now, granted, people are going to say, well, that's not his eyebrow shape. Well, they've had them shaped for years. You go to baby pictures where they have y'all been touched to actually get an eyebrow shape. So he has a diamond face, more so. It's more oval, but it's got like a diamond shape to it. Because the thing is, if it's an oval face, it's more Gemins, because it's very round. You don't really see a chin jutting out like you see here on this little face. His chin kind of goes separate to the cheeks, makes it more diamondy. Someone who has this type of face likes to be in control, and everything they touch seems to sparkle. They are very detail oriented, and because of that, they produce quality work. They also have communities well. They communicate well and are very precise with their words. Yeah, just like a diamond, the things that come out of their mouth can sometimes cut you like a knife.
Yeah, we saw that before.
Anyway, you can read all that, like I said, when you get the PowerPoint, if you care to. He has triangular brows. This is the brows that have not been touched, because there's a Korean trend to have the straight across brows. That's not natural. They have them shaped and colored that way. These are his natural brows.
So she went to a childhood picture to get the analysis.
Because that's actually their true eyebrow shapes.
Right.
Triangular eyebrows symbolize the resolute determination. There it is again. Usually people with triangular brows are brave, wise, resolute, decisive, and fearless to setbacks and march forward courageously. Think about it. He's a leader of the military now.
He really is. He has his own, whatever it's called.
See, people who have long eyebrows, and he has longer eyebrows, they're not short. They're long because they're past the edge of his eyes. People who have long eyebrows tend to be the kind of people who have a lot of friends. There's a reason for this. They have extra strength so they can deal with all of their friends' personal drama without feeling overwhelmed. Now, he pretty much can, because he's pretty much a rock to the rest of the members a lot of times.
Oh, yeah.
You love logic and facts and have an eye for details. Your approach is direct and straightforward, just like your eyebrows. I mean, you want facts in place before you come down to believing anything before your eyes. Peaked or arched brows. On the other hand, peaked brows have a distinct and high arched angle. Now, he does have a little bit of an arch. It's not high. And they help convey various emotions. Yeah, he's very expressive, which I think is part of him being Sagittarius, but you know. Yep, it is. Now, Jen's feelings. You can pause all this and read when you get there, or you get the PowerPoint, because I know these are going to be a little harder to read. This is him being hard on himself. He's constantly self-degrading. He feels like he's not enough. He feels that he's an embarrassment, disappointment to the group. He wouldn't be a good addition. He's not good enough. Here's more. Who is the loneliest BTS member? Now, this is on Quora. This is people's opinions. And remember I told you, Jimin and Jin seem pretty isolated compared to the rest of them. They easily get pushed out of the group. But the thing is Jin. Why wouldn't they? I mean, because based on what we've seen of maybe Seokjin's true personality, he seems like a very private and withdrawn person. Yeah, he is. He's very private. That would make it hard for them to get close to him. Yeah. You haven't ever seen his home before. He's pretty private. Mm-hmm. You've seen all of RM's home. Mm-hmm. All of Tae's home. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think he's the only one of the group who isn't really close with anybody. I mean, J-Hope, Suga, vice versa, same with Jimin and Taeyeon. Well, Tae's actually drifted away from Jimin. He's actually more so taking advantage of Jimin's friendship, but we're not going to go to that just yet.
Right.
Also, those two also include Jungkook most of the time. Everyone loves the McNay, so that isn't a problem. Namjoon and Suga are also a little more private, but they also know each other for the longest too. Jimin and J-Hope, Taeyeon and Namjoon, Jungkook and Suga, but in any combinations, they all mix well. But Seokjin, I'm definitely not saying that they're all close. They're not all close, but he does seem to be much of a loner. This is somebody else saying that, no, they're not completely cohesive. Because how can an even group be cohesive?
Yeah.
Like with the friend groups where it's just three of them, somebody's going to be jutted out of the group.
Exactly. Somebody's going to get way more attention than the other, and I've been on the side, and she has as well. You've been, like, there's three people, and they always hang together, but somebody in that three group always manages to be, like, the second choice. Always. I went through it. She went through it. You know, anybody that had two friends and y'all all three hung out, you can think back, yeah, one of those people, if it wasn't you, one of those people was sort of left behind more than the others were.
Now, you remember how I said there's not a lot of mini money moments between RM and Jimin? Well, they don't see a lot of moments with everybody else with Jin. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that they're saying, no, they're a victim. Well, no, you're just observing and you see that.
Exactly. Well, these are observations, opinions.
Well, these are of army that armies don't want to accept because they see reality. Here's other armies' opinions. Now, these are some armies that have different opinions. They can have an opinion. We're all free to have an opinion because we all have one, just like a butthole. We all have one.
We all have one.
I'm sorry, but I don't think Jin is as attractive as he and BTS fans seem to think. Now, he doesn't think that way. That was originally a joke. He actually doesn't believe that. If you actually pay attention. In my opinion, he's the least attractive out of all the BTS members. Now, I will say it's RM just because of his personality, but...
And that's the thing. Somebody can be absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, a knockout. But when you get to know that person, if they're ugly on the inside, it can absolutely change how they look on the outside.
Mm-hmm. It's quite funny, though, and I don't dislike him by any means. I just don't see why he's called Worldwide Handsome. Well, he made it as a joke. If you actually paid attention.
And he didn't mean for it to stick around. It stuck.
That's stuck with fans because they only see him as attractive.
Right.
Before I became a BTS fan, I thought Jim was a fairly serious guy who probably won over fans with his suaveness and handsome face. Now I know he's just a dork, and I love him all the more. See? Some people actually see that.
Exactly. Those, I think, are a true fan who look beyond
the facade. Yeah. He has to put on a facade. But the thing is, he's more of a jokester.
Right. And he's human.
Which basically more so points to the monkey aspect of his zodiac. They tend to be more hilarious and jokestery. Right. Because they don't like seriousness.
Right.
I feel like both BTS Jin and Lovely's Jin are taken for granted in their groups. They get two little lines in their songs. Yeah, Jin doesn't get a lot of lines in his songs. Don't tell me. Well, BTS members write the songs. Actually, RM, Suga, and J-Hope and four other producers usually write the songs. So, you have to talk to them because the entire group doesn't write songs.
And I think a lot of times Suga tries to give everybody their moment to shine.
He tries to give them more of an opportunity to shine. But the thing is, there's other people in that group that write songs.
Exactly.
They could always outdo his opinion.
Yeah, and they're not going to be like Suga, where Suga, I think, does seem very fair. in wanting each individual person to shine, to show what they add to the group.
I mean, because he wanted Jen, J-Hope, and Jimin to have an ability to sing, because they were just going to be, Jim was just going to be a visual. And Jimin and J-Hope were just going to be backup dancers. He wanted them to be part of the group like everybody else was. So he gave them ample opportunity to learn whatever they could.
Exactly.
So despite being the vocalists of their groups and little screen time as well, they don't get a lot of screen time. I think both are really talented and should be given a chance to shine like other members. See, that's a true army right there. That is a true army.
Yep.
Now somebody says, well, that's not unfair. I absolutely love both V and Jin from BTS, but I personally think that V is better looking than Jin, despite Jin being the visual of the group. And no, neither V or Jin is more biased than BTS. They can have an opinion on that.
Right.
I mean, you can have a bias with somebody and say, well, I mean, I think this person's more attractive to this person, but I'm more gravitated to this person. Doesn't hurt at all. But they're not talking like that they're pieces of meat. They just say, well, he's just attractive.
Right.
Now, is this so sexy? He's so hot. I want him to step all over me. There's some people who actually see them as people. Loving Jin is so hard. If you have him your solo stand, if you fight for his rifle lines and screen times, you're being over dramatic. If you voice out your opinion about his talents, you're one problematic fan. Then what do I do if I see my man constantly getting the ends of the stick? That's a really good question from an army. That is a really good question from an army.
But and she threw that out there too, like the whole reason that Lexius went through all of this research is because we were sort of kind of referred to as solo stands too. That
is a very much a big assumption by somebody who's hateful. This person
gets it
and says, well, if you say this, then this, or you say this, but it's that. Basically, it's damned if you do and damned if you don't. Because Army wants to hate somebody for whatever reason. They want to nitpick at you because they're hateful people who are angry. They try to say, well, we love BTS. They help get my anger, my sadness. No, you just bottle up that anger and just try to project it on anybody you can. Why does Jin have less fans? Good question. Very good question. See, and this was somebody saying basically that Jin is pretty much controlled by Big Hit. I mean, hell, they didn't want him to cut his hair. He had to personally cut his own hair because they wouldn't allow him.
He sure did cut his hair.
Now, what did you say about how they treated him like family, but yet they wouldn't allow this man to cut his hair because the bangs was in his eyes? And let's not forget the time where they actually have evidence of them physically abusing Tae and Jungkook.
But
yet they love them like family.
They do.
And they starve them and they make them have little to no sleep, which has caused a lot of them to have insomnia.
And some K-pop people have, I don't think it's been a great number, but I think it is concerning when you have members of K-pop groups who actually just check out. And I don't mean that they leave the group. I mean they permanently check out of life. Okay? Because they have taken their own lives.
A lot of times, and this has actually been proven, most of the times it's because of their producers and their fans. Because their fans are so judgmental.
And they are.
They're so judgmental and they pick apart their looks and their visuals instead of actually looking at them as people. Because I can give you an example of that. So Jimin was first looked at as being fat and ugly. Then he lost weight. Then he was a skeleton. Damn if you do and damn if you don't. I'm telling you. And instead of being compassionate and encouraging him, you don't have to lose weight. You don't have to. They made him feel worse about losing weight by basically saying he was a skinny skeleton. He was like bones walking. Well, that's not really encouraging. It's going to make somebody want to kill themselves. It's got the whole world judging him. You don't really help matters as a fan. But, you didn't hear from me.
More opinions?
More opinions. Now, look at this. Congratulations to Kim Seol-jin, Visual King of the Year. That doesn't help anybody. That makes him look more like meat. Congratulations to our Seol-jin. Jin is really indeed our worldwide handsome visual of the year. I'm looking at y'all. Y'all encourage this,
and I like it says down there, we love you inside and out. You're beautiful inside and out. But what part of the inside did you point to?
Worldwide handsome.
Yeah.
The name that basically says, well, he's handsome all across the world. Well, that's not talking about the inside.
Nope.
We look at the inside now, but yet you're labeling him as being just an attractive person. Mm-hmm. You don't really mention any of his talents or his contributions to the group, or as even just a good person. He's a good person. He's very compassionate. You don't point that out. He's worldwide handsome only. Jin can't dance. Well, that's really loving and touching because that's a whole YouTube video. That is to fans, and some fans agree with it. Mm-hmm. Knowing that he had to learn.
Would that make them solo stands?
I guess so. And really, in actuality, I really want to ask people this. Could you even attempt to dance like Jin within a day?
I couldn't dance like
Jin does better than anybody who has never danced in their life. Don't tell me that he can't dance. He can dance pretty good compared to me.
Compared to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And he went in with no dance talent. Mm-hmm. Zero.
Now, here's another opinion. Seeing how both Suho and Jin treat their members as if they were their own kids, I'd like to see them interact. I know Rap Monster Suho already talked about leading, but it's different for Jin. Their personalities and responsibilities are really similar. It would be fun. And yeah, he's not the leader, but he actually acts more of a leader than RM does. RM is more of a control freak, while Jin acts more like a big brother, which is actually the intent of being a leader, because most times, not all the time, most times with K-pop groups, they have the oldest as the leader because they're the oldest. They're going to be the most respected. But a lot of times they don't have to be control freaks to get their point across, like RM does.
Yeah, and I think we had said too, I maybe have mentioned it in another video, the fact that I think RM is also one who likes to micromanage. That gets on my nerves. Mm-hmm. I've worked for people who do that. I mean, nutty.
Now, these pictures for Jin's concept photos, which I'm going to get to this weekend. I am going to get to them. That went around for weeks because they happened to see his back.
How dare he?
Well,
he has skin.
100,000 likes from unofficial BTS page. I'm screaming.
They act like these people are not human.
Now, what was it that you shouldn't sexualize a woman because they see skin?
But I guess it's okay to sexualize BTS, right?
I've seen people say they want to ravage them. Some of them have even said, yes, I'm going to say an awful word on this channel. I've seen plenty of armies say they would love to rape BTS members.
I saw it myself, because when she sees it, she's like, Mom, look at this comment.
Some of them have said they would love to kidnap them if they could. Mm-hmm. They would ravage them if they were in their presence. Mm-hmm. Don't tell me that I'm the toxic one. I treat them like people. If I was to talk to them, I was to be in the same room with one of them, I'd be talking to them like they're buddies. I wouldn't talk to them like I'm an obsessed person who would stalk them in the middle of the night, because some people have actually snuck into Jungkook's room recording him while he's sleeping.
And why come at a person from a sexual standpoint?
Exactly. And the thing is, a lot of times, these people were complimenting while they were kids. Y'all a bunch of predators. Mm-hmm. And really, I don't think that's right on the producer's part. They're children. Why would you sexualize children? Mm-hmm. They made Jimin basically lift up his shirt all the time, even when he was 17.
I thought he was 16.
16, 17? I mean, he was debuting at the time.
So he had to be the app guy for a little bit.
So basically, that was sexualizing a child.
Yep. A juvenile. Mm-hmm. An underage.
So, didn't hear it from me. You didn't hear it from me. And then there was a bunch of my links. Like I said, I'm going to put this where y'all can see, but this is just a little bit of Jin. I could go way deeper, but then again, it'd probably be 2 years by now.
It really would.
There's your analysis for Jin. I hope that kind of lets you in on his personality if you haven't ever tried to look at it. So, I hope y'all learned something.
Yeah, this is over 2 hours. When I say that Lexi does research, she does research.
If I hear something about one of them or anything that I'm at least interested in, I go immediately to search.
Yeah, and it's not one search. It's like multiple searches.
I think it's one source ain't going to be enough. I have to make sure it's several.
You got to get all the research. You got to get all the views. You got to get all of it. And this was quite lengthy.
I think it's because of us reading the comments.
It really probably was. This is what she worked on. She did this for all 7 members, and this, like we said in the beginning, is a response to someone who just basically took her as not an ARMY. She was a solo stan. She was a hater. She wasn't a true ARMY. But the thing is Lexi wasn't being superficial about anything. She wasn't going because she's a RM hater. The comments came for, I think, things that we've seen.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is he has a horrible personality as a person. He does that on his own. And people always say, well, you hate RM because he looks ugly. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's because he has an ugly personality towards others.
And he does.
And really, the fact that he tries to act like an angel a lot of times is what really discourages me, that y'all think that he's so perfect. Well, I mean, not to bring things up, but he was the member of the group who wrote a lot of misogynistic songs about women.
He really did. But, that I always forgive him because he said, I'm sorry.
One time. And don't y'all remember the first few times that they were on performance stage, he said the N-word a lot? Apologizing doesn't do anything. When you're a grown-ass man and you're doing this, then he was 19, or at least 18, 19 area when he started writing these songs for BTS, and they were misogynistic. They were very explicit about sexualizing women. That were mainly his songs.
And not a Jin thing, but RM did say...
RM did.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we're not talking about Jin when we make this comment, but the thing is when they go through and they talked to each member and they said, hey, what do you see, what kind of woman do you want? RM said he wanted
a woman that would look sexy in lingerie.
Okay, there you go. Whatever.
And also the fact that he tries to say now he's a hopeless romantic, which he has none of that behavior.
He really doesn't. Also, he is not an indigo or person, but Lexi will get to that when she does the breakdown on RM. She's been sort of kind of putting that one off because he does rub her the wrong way because of his attitude about things. That really is.
And I forgot to tell y'all that Jin's aura color, if I was to say, because I know some of y'all don't really believe me, but I do see auras pretty frequently. His is more of like a yellow or peach color.
Which means?
Pretty bright, pretty happy, pretty comfortable. But I would say the peach goes more into a little bit of a soft introvert, not very introverted, where it's like Sugar, where he's closed off. But he's more to himself.
She worked really, really hard on this, y'all. She really did, because she's not the type of person who goes out and says, I'm going to judge this person, because that's not what she's doing. She's telling you what she actually really sees. And when you go down and you break this person down by just going into zodiacs, okay? A lot of the things absolutely are what that person is. She went into facial recognition and facial features and things being longer or shorter or closer together or farther apart. She went in depth to provide receipts at least for y'all, that would show you that what she said, it supports what she said. And this is, when she says y'all, she's not talking about you subscribers. Y'all are awesome. And anybody that's sort of kind of coming through here and saying, what the hell?
This is for Toxic Army.
Yeah, what the hell took 2 hours for y'all to talk about Toxic Army? So Lacey's breaking down each member.
And like I said, I'm sure none of the other videos will be this long. We'll probably RM and Jimin's and J-House be a little longer.
They may be a little
because
longer.
we won't be reading all the comments on the YouTube, it probably won't be as long.
Yeah, but anyway, we appreciate it. If you've made it to the end of this video, we really, really appreciate it, okay? And the reason I say that is because Lexi went to a lot of hard work to do this. She found some things that supported what she said. She didn't look for things that supported her. She went in and researched all kinds of stuff. That's why there's multiple different zodiacs on there and the facial things.
And I even looked into, I actually put their faces in face scanners.
But all comments are welcome. But if you're going to come throwing hate or shade toward Lexi and you are a member of Army, be prepared. She will come back and she will say, you need to pay attention. Do I need to provide you with something else? So this was Jen's. This was the video 1 of at least 7, and I'm hoping
8.
8.
because I'll be critiquing Army.
Oh, and did you say you were doing one for yourself? Did you do one for yourself?
No, I can always just go on that fly.
Yeah, she can go on that on the fly. So yeah, she did critique Army. So 1 of 8. So be looking for those. Hopefully she can crack. She was going to do 2 tonight, but this is, like I say, 2 hours long, so we just can't.
Yeah, we started really late because of slacking.
Multiple things.
So be looking forward to the next one. Will be Sugar. And we did a mukbang today. We're going to try to get that out there. It was actually sort of kind of a, we're going to try this for the first time. You can watch us try it, see what we thought, what we said, how we reacted, and we mukbang for a very short period of time, but it was spicy to say the least. So go and do all the YouTube things, please. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe until our next video. Peace out there.